I was going to do another video so quickly. I couldn't resist. I find this game so fascinating. So I've moved on to the second deck. The Germans won the Operation Drive on Stalingrad, and now I'm using the Streets of Stalingrad deck. We find that this one contains the 112th Rifle Division on the Soviet side and the 100th Jaeger Division on the German side. So these are more infantry divisions. They don't have any organisations with armoured units, although there are armoured formations available as higher echelon assets, like divisional assets or so it's attached companies. We do find some slightly different things here. So I picked I'm doing another operation, so that's to 100 victory points. Picked the first mission at random, and this is the layout. You can see it's already quite a lot bigger. The first thing I notice is that there's a lot more cover, so it's going to be harder to get through to things. There's more cover and more defensive value in the defensive positions. And this battle is actually for the Red October factory. It's called Back and Forth at the Red October. So the Germans' baseline is a barricade settlement, and the Soviets defending the Red October factory. Another thing you have that's peculiar to this set is you have these green headlined locations, and they are unreachable by the Germans. They simulate locations on the east bank of the Volga, and so quite naturally the Soviets have put an artillery unit there, so that artillery unit is available adjacent to all these three locations. One thing we had to notice in the setup here is that these locations are adjacent, but this has no adjacent location from the German side. These ones are adjacent, and it is adjacent to the objective. So that means if the Germans came down this way, they've kind of got an extra one to go through. As it happens, this is looking like the weaker route, and so they set up heading towards that location initially. Now we had 6 cards each. Oh yeah, and one more thing to note is that as an objective, this is worth 51 victory points, so already completely on its own. The Red October factory is worth half the operation. We also note that the rifle division is kind of stronger than the division we had in the Soviet division, than the division we had. So it's a trained unit. So they don't have quite so many reinforcements available to them, but they generally have a higher value in themselves, as do, it seems, the German ones, because a lot of these are specialist formations with extra points, like this Jaeger battalion. I've chosen the 227th Jaeger Regiment. So they have these cover modifiers. So as they're going in to attack, they are able to gain cover advantage. And they also have... no, they didn't have integral artillery. That was divisional assets. Okay. Yeah, no, but that's on the Soviet side. We find that the 416th Rifle Regiment actually has a mortar battalion as integral artillery. So that is a complete regiment, including the artillery. I brought in their supply column as a divisional asset. Unfortunately, that was the card discarded at start. So both started with 6, one discarded. The Germans were quite unlucky because their discard was an asset they had brought in, which was this bicycle battalion. You see, it's got a 3 cover value at the top there, so that's going to be great. That's going to give them a good chance to get in a first shot against these highly covered positions. And I like the flavour text on here. We were strong because the bicycles was very heavy. So there. What have I done? So I set up, we're all ready to go. I just wanted to mention assets that I brought in. So we've got the Southwest Front still supplying assets for the Soviets. I've given them some more troops. Again, ones with extra cover. Oops. I didn't max them out on the add-ins. I just bolstered their deck a little bit with some aircraft and some battle ground cards for defensive purposes, so they will go in the deck. As for the Germans, I've given them a lot, a maximum really. So we've got, and I'm now using the 6th Army rather than the 4th Panzer Army as their upper echelon, and so of course I had to bring General Paulus in to play, so he'll be in the deck. I've given them this great tactics card. They've also got Commando Company as an attachment, which looks quite powerful. I've given them this in case they need some defence of their rear lines. Extra fortune cards, lots more tactics cards, including an aircraft strike. And then a load of extra artillery, because looking through the decks, many artillery wouldn't have been as effective against these well covered positions. So I looked through the division assets and found some artillery that can meet the cover that they're going to be meeting, like target cover 5 or less, and then a couple of extra formations just to help. Okay, for sure I'm not going to be able to finish this video in one stretch, so it will undoubtedly be 2 or 3 parts. I think I will play through the whole game, but we'll see how it goes, this whole mission. And I don't know, I just, if you can watch it if you want, obviously if you don't, you don't. But I just, I love this game, and I just want to see what happens and see if it can create an interesting narrative. So I'm just shuffling the decks, and we will start with the German draw for their orders. It was a bit difficult deciding on how to set up because they were left with a headquarters, 2 artillery. I brought 2 artilleries in as their starting because I thought if one of them is discarded, they're still going to have 2. Unfortunately, that wasn't discarded, and so they've ended up with 3 positions they have to cover, but only 2 troops cards. So I stuck an artillery in one, the other here, because that's going to go forward. I was really hoping for that, and then this one to go there, but of course that's not going to happen. The plan never goes exactly according to plan, does it? So anyway, that's how it's starting. We're hoping for a few orders so we can kind of rearrange things as we go. We might be assisted by the fact that headquarters allows us to forage, so we can always draw an extra card if I activate him. Yeah, and I was toying with the idea of putting headquarters further up. In fact, I think I will. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to put the headquarters there, and I'm going to put both the artilleries there already. So these cards are all in that location. Okay, so there's no one back there. Okay, and we draw for their orders, and I get 2. Oh, that's an airstrike card I'm not going to get to play. Okay, so 2 orders. Oh, I didn't draw the hand, so that would have been in the starting hand. 1, 2, 3. That's 4, 5. Okay, that's great. And the Soviets start with 5 actually because they are trained. No, in fact, they are veteran. Sorry. Yes, trained was the last ones in the other game. So these ones veterans. They actually get 5 card hand, a minimum the same as the Germans. The Germans can have an extra maximum in their hand at any one time. Okay, so let's just reach across so I can see the German cards. Oh, brilliant. So they have a manoeuvre card. Allows them to take 2 more orders checks and to plan, and then even observe for artillery. Sometimes there is not enough artillery to get the job done. Then again, sometimes there is. So 2 more orders, that's 6. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they've now got 6 orders left, and one of those is going to be the airstrike, and that's going to be against unengaged forces. That'll be, I'm going to play it safe. That's going to be these ones. Now they've got 5, 6, 7, 8. I need, so I've got 5 of my chevron added to 7, so that's going to be a 1 result. 1 hit. Hold on chance 2. So they're most likely going to have to withdraw under heavy damage. Yes. So already we've caused one of the Soviet units to withdraw. Good. So our headquarters is not threatened right now. And so that was the airstrike. We'll play radio intercepts, fortune card, enemy discards a maneuver card, just in case they have the same kind of card. No, they don't in their hand. But it's worth trying. Oh, we've got a Jaeger battalion we can bring on there, and that is great. That is one of ours. So what I'm going to do in that case then is activate the... he commits. Okay, he doesn't assemble. Okay, so I won't activate him. So I'll just bring him in on from the card. That's an order. And then activate him. March 1 or advance 1. So he's the rest of the Jaeger battalion. So march 1 to here. And that's the end of that activation. Then we're going to activate these artillery. So we'll activate this one first. Barrage, target cover 5 or less. So he's in cover of 2, so that's fine. Barrage value of 5, and I get an 8 there, so that's 13 against 5, 6 with cover. So that's going to be 2 results. And we have 1 hit and 2 hold things. So if it's got 1 hit, then you'll hold on a 6. I draw a 3, so he's gone as well. So that one's out, withdrawn. Don't need that artillery to do any more. What we need now to use another order to advance this fellow, and he's going to bring the artillery with him. I believe he can bring that artillery with him too. Even though it's activated, it can come with. So he's advanced 1. We immediately take possession of that. And on a 3, he gets a chance to advance 1 again. So I will check that. I don't know why I did actually, because it wouldn't really help. Well, he could bring an artillery with him. Okay, and we've got 2 more orders left. So I'm going to activate this artillery to barrage this target in cover 5 or less. He's got cover 4. So we're on a 5. And I get an 8 again, so that's 13. But his defensive value is 5. He's got 4, so that's 9. So it's only going to be 1. 1 hit, hold on chance 2 or 5. I didn't take the order off. And that is a 5, so he holds. No, it's not, it's a 4. So he's a hit and does not hold. He is withdrawn. so the Germans have one order left, but they've activated all of these. What they could now do is he could advance here. No, that's not going to help. I think what I'll do is just activate the headquarters, move it over to there, a bit more safe for it, and I get to forage for one card. That's an attachment. That's it. So that's the German first turn. That was jolly good. So the Soviets get 2 orders. Don't have a manoeuvre card, so you're not going to be able to add to that. They've only got 1 formation card in their hand, but they do have this artillery here, which is adjacent to that location. So they're definitely going to barrage with that. Can I bring in I got. I couldn't really decide what to do with that because we've only got 1 order left, and really we need. I mean, I could use it to get a sure hit on one of these, but they're still going to bring in 2 units. They might just get enough orders, so I think I'm going to have to use that last order to bring in another mortar battalion, some more artillery, just because I don't have any other troops to cover that, and just to buy us some time. So that's going to be the end of the Soviet turn, and German will get 2 orders this turn. But of course with General Paulus, they use one of those orders to activate him and the headquarters he's with. So we get to plan, reorder 3 cards. We get to draw 2 of those, and then we get an initiative orders check. So I basically decide how that's going to go. So I draw these 2, and I get this orders check, which is 3. So we're back up to, we're up to 4 orders now. We've got some more troops and some flamethrowers. Could well take this go. We also get, so the headquarters is activated with General Paulus. That's another forage. Draw another card. Tactics, finding the way. And we also have a commit action, which I don't think we need to use. That would be bringing one from the same organisation out of the discard now. Okay. So we're going to activate the Jaeger battalion. He's going to bring one of the artilleries with him. suggested here. I'll just move these ones back. So he's here already at the objective. With an advance, we'll go for 3 to try and infiltrate, because it's not a great position where he is. I got a 4, so no infiltration. Now he could go straight into combat, but I'm worried he needs more cover. So I'm going to do a barrage and then a tactics card. So activate the artillery, and it's going to barrage this top card here. We have 8 versus 8, so that's 1 hit, or 1 result, which is a 1 hit. Hold on chance 3, 4 or 7, and that's a 4, so there's just 1 hit. That one's holding. Then there's another barrage because he's in contact. So against the same card, that's a 6, so that's 11. So again, that's going to be 1 result. Another hit. So that unit is destroyed, goes into the German victory points pile. That's worth 13. So that's those 2 over, but now I can play one of these tactics, and I might well play the flamethrowers. No, it's going to be finding the way. So the flamethrowers would have given us a bonus of 3 on the cover at the top there. But this one's going to give us a bonus of 4, and it allows us to plan for 2. It will give us another infiltrate chance. So I activate that. Plan 2, take 2 cards off the draw deck and organise them how I like. I'm looking for a 4, which I don't have, so we won't be able to infiltrate. So we're going to be going to combat, so then I want the highest number there, 5 on top. Okay, so I'm playing that tactic card on the Jaeger battalion, so he goes into combat. Now this artillery is under cover of 4, but it doesn't actually have the capability of attacking, so we don't need to check for cover. Okay, so we just go straight to the combat. Otherwise we would have checked to see who goes first. He's got 5 attack value and defending is 8. I take this, which gives us 4, so that's 9, so just gets 1 result in. Result is hold on 2, 4 or 7, and I got a 5, so he doesn't hold. There's no hit, he doesn't hold, so he's just withdrawn without any hits. And so so normally that would objective would go straight to the Germans, but because it has this little flag here, which shows it has an objective, an orders cost of 2 to pick it up. Now I can pay for 1 of those. Okay, but that's the end of the German orders phase. That one is discarded now. So the Soviets have chance at redemption. I was counting on that. As I said before. Okay, the Germans don't need any drawing their hand up to full. Okay, so the Soviets get 2. With their first order, they play minefields, which is adding 2 more orders necessities. So, illustrating the difficulty of clearing the mine, and the mind as well. They're playing their next one on their Major General, their last order on the Major General. So we get to draw 3 cards, discard 1, and then we get to reorder. We're still looking. Hang on, is that going to be useful? No, no. Well, yes, I won't draw. I'm just going to reorder. Actually, no, it won't hurt to draw. Okay. Headquarters and battlefield cards. That's great. Okay. And then I get to plan. And that will be planning barrage. Oh no, I still can't barrage because I need a group. If our group was with the target, there's no one able to spot for that. So really I'm just looking at good numbers like that. Okay, so that hasn't given us anything immediately useful, so we go back to the Germans. And they get 2 orders. They're going to spend 2 of them, 1 to remove that and then 1 to remove part of the minefield. So no, I take that back. So just 1 for that. Okay, so I'll leave that there to remind me that's been cleared. This has not been cleared. Then they're going to move up some troops with their next order to this adjacent place. So they automatically take that. And that's their turn over. Soviets, I planned it, so they got 3 orders. Okay, so we're spending 1 order. I find nothing in the rules stopping us from adding an extra battlefield card in for extra defense. Hedgehog. So adds extra defense. It also allows us to eliminate results cards. So any unit that gets a hit there, if I activate that, I can take the hit off. Then I'm going to do another to bring in this headquarters. And then the last order to activate that headquarters allows me to forage. Drawing 3 cards. Okay. So we've got 7 in our hand, and that's the end of our orders. But I do get to plan 4, so I've got 2 wonderful leaders here. I think we're going to take damage from the Germans next turn, so I'll try and plan to mitigate that. The last part on this card's text is assemble. That allows this headquarters to bring in any same organizational diamond divisional assets on with it. So I find in the hand I have a leader and a stackable with it, a leader and a company. So this would go like this. So we've got a leader attached to that headquarters and a company, which is going to give it some extra firepower and a bit more, another hit. So it's got 3 hits now. Bit of a desperate defense, but we're using everything we can. I almost forgot we have the sniper card, and so on the planning I've made sure, I went back and I've made sure there is a 5 on the deck, the top of the deck, so eliminate leader card. Dun, dun, dun. So discard those, and General Paulus is ours. He's only actually worth 15 victory points. I thought it'd be worth a lot more than that, but still that balances out the mortar battalion that we lost. Okay, so now it's over to the Germans. So the Germans are in a tricky position. They could still, with the artillery, get rid of all of this. They've got 2 orders. but that would still leave them with one order left on here. So they're not going to win this turn. And the Soviet battle deck is running down quite quickly. Draw deck, but I mean. It's not a happy position for the Germans because combined defence of 7 on here means that the headquarters is going to be on defence value of 11. The artillery's only got attack value of 5. Even the infantry only has an attack value of 5. The Jaeger battalion. So it's, and the same with the other troops I have on the board. So they're going to have to find a different way to get in here. Either way, these are pretty much the same. So they're going to spend an order, activates the barrage. We only get one barrage because the cover's so high. And no reordering of the deck. I got a 2, so no, that's going to do nothing at all. Now I'm going to spend the last order to move these troops over to provide some protection there, because I'm worried that this one will get barraged away. So that ends the German turn, and the Soviets get 2 orders. Okay, so activating these fellows, we did some foraging, we did some reordering, didn't manage to get an observation for the artillery, but with our final act, and did manage to assemble unit here, some actual troops, a sapper battalion, and the final order, with our planning, we've managed to effect that the artillery is going to do an effective fire of 10 against the top unit here. So he's going to take, now note here, you might be able to see there's a number here, -3, so that indicates attacking the red barricades factory. The armour has a -3 defensive value. He's not armour, he's infantry, so he's on 5. So he's going to take 2 results cards, 2 hits. He can take both of those, but he's only going to hold on a 4 or 6. And I got a 1, so he's withdrawn out. So it's just as well I brought those reinforcements in. Okay, so that's the end of the Soviets' turn. Except one more thing, they're going to play a fortune card, radio intercepts, which will discard any manoeuvre card that the Germans might have in hand, which they in fact don't. Germans get 2 orders. Okay, so they're going to activate this flamethrowers card. So the Jaeger battalion's going in. So he's got cover 3 plus 1 is 4 versus 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, 8, 9. No, he's never going to get that. Hang on. I think the best the Germans can do is spend both those orders to clear the minefield. And so it's back. So at least they're kind of on a sort of straight footing that way. Then they might be able to use the artillery, get rid of this sapper. Use the artillery again and just bring another artillery card up, I think. Formation. Okay, it's not looking good. The Germans got so close. You can see how this game can swing. The Soviets are hanging in there, so they get only one order, and with that they've got no formations to bring in, but they've got such a big hand. They've got a choice here. They could either add some obstacles or try a bomber strike. To make sure the bomber strike works, we really need to do some planning for that. So I'm going to bung in the obstacles just to frustrate the Germans even more. So they have a go. 2 results. Okay, so they're going to 2 orders. They're going to bring in this artillery with 1, and then they are going to call up General Lucas. I can't read. Lieutenant General San. So he can be brought straight in to attach him to this artillery, because I'm afraid he's going to get blasted away. Okay, so Soviet go. The Soviets only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards left, so the Germans can see that that deck is drawing down. They get 2 orders. They're going to use 1 to activate the headquarters here, so that's going to end the game, because a combination of forage from the colonel and the headquarters will draw 4 cards. They just played 1 for their orders, and that brings us to the end of the deck. And so the Soviets get a handy win. Great mass of defences going on the Red Barricades factory, so I think that's quite an appropriate win. The Germans needed a greater mass. They needed more orders. German powerlifts hadn't died. They might have got there. They had a chance with this fellow who would have brought in an extra orders check each turn that they had activated that artillery, which they'd probably been doing every turn. And it was close. So that's it. That's the end of that one. That was an enjoyable romp. I should probably be a bit more critical. And if anything, that is the criticism I have of this game, is it sometimes is over quite quickly. But I think that is just to do with one's expectations. You know, normally you expect a game to last quicker. And I think it's partly because you're thinking there's a lot of... I don't know, it's something to do with the fact that it's actually a very sweet game. You're not sort of worried about, you know, moving hex to hex and that kind of maneuver. You're more looking at an upper level commander saying, okay, this formation, that line of attack, this formation, that line of attack, and then feeding in resources, sending appropriate things to try and make it happen, and your opponent doing the same, vice versa. So I think what it is, I want war. Especially when it finishes after only about half an hour's play, I kind of like, oh, that was great. I wanted it to go on. So it's kind of like a criticism, but it's also one of the high points of the game. It's because it's so fun that I want it to keep going. Well, there it is. That was great. I was a bit surprised because it did look like the Germans were going to get there. So that means that the Soviets gained the victory of that. So they've got 51 victory points stored. And general powerless is 15, so that's 66. And the Germans have only got 13 taken from them in this operation drive on streets of Stalingrad.